Have you ever heard the saying, money makes money? Well, it's true, and it's all thanks to compound interest. After watching this video, you will know all about it, and your perspective on investing and how you manage money will be changed from this moment onwards. Imagine you're given a choice. Take $5,000 in cash now, or take only $1,000. If you choose option B, you also receive a bonus of 1% interest per day during 1 year. The 1% is calculated over the accumulated amount you have each day. Which would you choose? At first glance, the immediate gratification of $5,000 in cash might seem like a better choice. But let me tell you something. If you choose option B, after a year, you'd have much better result. Let's see the final number in this graph. Option A is the obvious winner at first, but as days pass by, look at what happens. Remember, option B was only $1,000 starting capital. The rest is interest gains. But how's this possible? 1% of 1,000 is only 10, so the bonus payment on day 1 would only be $10. So, if we multiply this amount by 365 days, that is only 3,650. This amount, plus the 1,000 on day 1, is less than option A and is far from the 37,700. But that calculation is not taking into account compound interest. And because of that, you are missing more than $30,000 in interest gains. So, here's how compound interest works. As we said before, on the first day, you'd earn $10 of interest. On the second day, you'd earn 1% over the accumulated amount from the previous day, which is $1,010. That will bring your interest for the second day not to $10, but actually to 10.1. At first, these amounts might seem small, but as the interest compounds over time, it quickly adds up. By the end of the second month, your interest gains would be almost double. And by the end of the 8th month, you'd be earning over $100 of interest per day. While you approach the end of the year, it's even better. You gain $2,500 in interest only in the last week of the year. Of the $37,700 you'd earn with this strategy, $36,700 would be from the interest gains alone. If we look at the totals, 97% of the final amount is generated by interest gain. Let this sink in. You only had $1,000 at the start of the year, but the interest gains made everything else. If you compare this to option A from the start of the video, now those $5,000 don't look so appealing, right? This is money working for you. Now take a moment to imagine that this was not a hypothetical scenario from a video, but a plan for your savings that will secure good retirement. Pretty powerful, right? All these calculations are pretty impressive, but before you imagine yourself in an exotic beach for the rest of your days, keep in mind that this example is purely theoretical, and it's unlikely that you'd be able to find an investment that would provide a 1% daily gain. And if you do find it, watch out, it's most likely a scam. Getting rich in 1 year is highly unlikely. Despite this, there are actually pretty important lessons here, so let's walk through more realistic examples. The most typical reference of how much can you gain in interest is 7% per year. This is the average return in the last 30 years of the S&P 500, which in short is an index that if you buy it, you are buying bits of stocks in the 500 largest publicly traded companies in the US. So let's do a quick example using that 7% per year. Imagine you have saved $5,000 and want to invest that. So you decide to buy shares from the S&P 500. Additionally, you decide to commit to invest $250 per month to this, which is $3,000 per year. If we use the same calculation as before, but now use years instead of days, the interest gains for the first year would be $350, which is 7% of 5,000. Does not really look like a big gain, but let's continue. By the start of year 2, we have the accumulated amount from year 1 plus the additional capital that we decided to commit, which was $3,000 per year. This would give us an interest gain of $585 for year 2. the accumulated interest from years 1 and 2 would go up to $935. Not a huge amount, but definitely better than the $350 from year 1. After 10 years, you would have a total of $48,000, of which $16,000 were generated by interests. This represents 33% of our total capital, despite the yearly interest being only 7%. But the power of compound interest really starts to shine over long periods of time. After 20 years, your investment would be worth almost $140,000, with more than half of that coming from interest gains. And after 30 years, you'd have over $318,000, with over 70% of that coming from interest gains. This is money working for you. Before we go, let's review the impact of small changes in the percentage of interest gains. Our example used 7% per year, and that gave us $318,000 in gains after 30 years, while the out-of-pocket contributions, in other words, what came out directly out of our accounts, were $92,000. With 9%, the interest gains go up to $472,000. Remember, there is no change in your contributions, only the interest rates. With 11%, you get a swooping $709,000. You end up with more than 2 times the money just because of an extra 4% gain. As you saw, the compounding effect explodes over time, so start investing as soon as possible. If you think about the monthly contribution that we mentioned, $250 per month might not seem like much savings, so many people will fall into the trap of not starting to invest. But you just saw the huge difference that can make in your life. Finally, if you want to adjust the calculations, check out online calculators for compound interest. We have linked one in the description below. The sooner you start, the more leverage you will have, so the more money will work for you. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, check out others in our channel and continue improving yourself every day.